So good morning, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for day 2 of the Fanshawe Care series. Today, we are going to start with talking to Jen, who is with us from our counseling and accessibility services. So Jen, if you'd like to take it over, it's all yours.
Excellent. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me today. I am Jen. I'm one of the counselors, and I am part of a team of resources that are available to help you here at the college. Um, Crystal or Crystal or April, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my slides? Excellent. So what I am is I am a team. I'm just one member of the team of about 20 different people that are here who can help you while you're a student at Fanshawe. When we talk about wellness at Fanshawe, it means health. And so when we talk about health, we talk about physical health, but we also know that there's a connection between our mind and our body. So when we talk about wellness, we're talking about emotional health as well as physical health. And so at Fanshawe, we have a variety of resources that are available to students who are interested in looking at improving or increasing their health. And so we offer workshops for students. And workshops are lessons that students can join to develop tools and skills. And so some of our wellness activities include Be Well. And Be Well is a workshop of 4 different sessions. Students can sign up for free to develop some tools. And so it may be things like be mindful. And when we talk about mindfulness, that might be a new concept for some students. And as you're on the cusp of joining your new life here in London, Ontario at Fanshawe College, you might be feeling a mixture of emotions. You might be feeling excited about your new life, but also a little bit sad about maybe what you might be leaving behind. You might be thrilled about the idea of adventure, but also a little fearful about being in a new environment. And what mindful does is that it helps to teach you to be present in this very moment. So, what I will do is I'm just going to invite all of you to take a deep breath. And so, what I'm going to do is ask you to breathe in for 4, hold it, and breathe out. And so, let's just do it all together. Breathe in, hold, and out. Let's do that again. And out. And what mindful does is that it teaches us to be focused on the right here and right now. And the reason why we focus on our breath is I can't breathe for yesterday. I can't breathe for something that's going to happen a month from now. And sometimes what we need to do is focus on what am I doing today? It may not solve everything that's going on in your world, but it may allow you to look at, okay, hey, I may not know where my grocery store is in London. Is that a here now problem or is that a tomorrow problem? And so sometimes we can say, yes, you're still important, but I'm going to put that on the shelf and perhaps I'll look at resources when I get to London. That is a very simple version of what mindfulness encourages, but it does take practice. And so in the Be Well workshop series, it looks at things like communication, mindfulness, stress management techniques, organization. And it's a very popular series for us, and we offer it throughout the year, multiple times a year. So you can sign up for free. We also offer workshops on anxiety. We know that tests are a very stressful situation for many people, as are presentations, having to speak in front of a group. So we offer workshops on how you can develop some skills and tools to maybe overcome some of that anxiety. Our office also offers counseling. And for some people, this may be a new concept. In North America, counseling is something that happens very often, and a lot of different people will access counseling. I'd like to clarify is that counseling is not advice giving. So, as counselors, if you come to us and describe a situation that you're involved in, we're not going to tell you what to do. We will, however, explore options that you have, maybe look at the pros and cons of those options, and help develop support as you follow through on some of those options. We can let you know about some of your rights and responsibilities as being a student here at Fanshawe and being a student here in Canada, and connect you with resources, whether they're on campus at Fanshawe or in our community. It is free, which means if you connect with our counselors, there's no additional cost. You can contact us and connect with our counselors for free. And we have male counselors and female counselors, and you meet one-on-one with those people to talk about anything that is of concern for you. The meetings with the counselors are confidential. And when I say the word confidential, it means private. So if you speak with one of our counselors, your instructors will not know what you talked about. Family and friends cannot call and say, my son or daughter or child was there. Can you tell me what they talked about? Our counselors are not allowed to talk with anyone outside of your appointment without your permission. There are some limitations, and that's around safety. And so if a student shares with us that someone in their world is at risk of being harmed, and that includes you. So if you tell us that you're not able to keep yourself safe, we don't want to keep that private. We want to make sure that you or people in your world are safe. And we operate as a team here at Fanshawe. So we will want to connect with resources, whether on the college or in the community, to make sure that you are safe. And that is sometimes where confidentiality cannot be guaranteed, is around situations of safety. And so you can arrange to speak with our counselor. So we're located in F 2010. You can come by and schedule an appointment. You can also give our office a phone call and we can arrange for an appointment. When you call, we'll only ask, do you want to speak with a personal counselor or an academic counselor, and nothing else. So before you come to Fanshawe, those services aren't available. But when you do come to Fanshawe, that's when you can start accessing our counseling supports. And when you make an appointment, you can speak with our counselors in person. You can speak by phone, or if you prefer to speak virtually through Zoom, our counselors can do that with you as well. These are some of the reasons why students come and speak with our counselors, and it can be anything that is causing concern. So it doesn't have to do with your program, although it may. Some students may say, I like my program, but maybe I don't love it. What does that mean for me? Maybe I'm living away from home for the first time, and maybe I'm feeling lonely. Maybe I'm scared. Maybe I'm living with roommates for the first time and it's a little bit frustrating. Maybe I don't have a great relationship with my family and I need some support around that. Maybe I am questioning my gender and sexuality. I want support to be the biggest version of me there is. A lot of students come to London and they look for freedom, freedom to be truly who they are. And as counselors, we want to support you in that journey. Some students may have concerns related to addictions. So this is where you may have a habit or a behavior and it's occurring more often than you would like it to be. That might involve perhaps drinking alcohol, using substances, shopping, playing video games, where it started off as fun, but now it's taking more control of your life. Maybe it's causing you to miss class. Maybe it's creating problems with your sleep routines or your spending routines, and you want to take that control back with your life. You can come and speak with our counselors. These are just examples of the many issues that students come and talk to us about. We also understand that our office is not open around the clock. And so there are some resources that are available in the community that you can call any time of day, night, weekends, evenings, holidays, they never close. And these are phone numbers that I often encourage students to take a picture of with their cell phone, because we don't always know when a crisis or an emergency is going to happen. And it may not just be for yourself. Maybe you have a roommate or a partner who needs support and you're not sure what to do. You can call any of these phone numbers. So there's Good to Talk or the Reach Out line. Both of them are in operation 24/7, and you can call them if you yourself need support. If it's in the middle of the night and maybe you're feeling really overwhelmed with your emotions, maybe you're concerned about a roommate and you're not sure how to help them, you can call those phone numbers. You can also go in person to the Huron Street location, which is always open. So if you or someone you care about need immediate support, you can contact any of these resources for free. I'm a member of the Accessibility Services team, and we talk about the idea of a disability. And this is a new idea, perhaps for some of you. And when we talk about a disability, it's any condition that comes into the learning environment that affects your learning. And so some students think, oh, like, you mean I'm not the only person that has that happen to? Last year, we had over 4,000 students registered with our office to get support. So that's usually around 10 to 12% of the population. And people like me are at every one of our campuses. So if you're going to be studying in the London campus, we have a team member there who can help you. If you're at the Oxford campus, you might be working with me or a member of my team. If you're at the downtown campus, we have resources there as well. If you're at the South campus, we have team members there, and we're at every campus to help you. So when I talk about a disability, it is a condition that may be what we say perceived. So you can detect this just by looking at a person. So you can tell by working, if you're seeing your screen, you can tell that I have a disability. I'm wearing glasses, which helps me to see more clearly. If I didn't have my glasses, it would be very blurry and likely affect my ability to read. So a support that I may need is being able to wear glasses. Now, wearing glasses in London is very common, so I don't need supports to do that. I'm permitted to wear glasses anytime I need to. But there may be things and supports that people need that you may not be able to detect just by being around them. So in Canada, a disability may include an acquired brain injury, a concussion, or if you had surgery on your brain that has created lasting effects, you might need support. If you have autism or think you have autism, our office can help. And so some people are surprised to learn that even if you haven't been diagnosed, you can connect with our office to get supports, and we'll work with you to get that diagnosis. If you are hearing impaired or are deaf, if you have a mental health condition, so something like anxiety, depression, that comes into the classroom with you, and it could also affect your testing, your ability to complete assignments. Our office can help with that. If you have a learning disability, and this might be new, but a learning disability is a condition that is typically lifelong, so something you have had forever, and it affects your ability to take information in, either through hearing or reading, affects your ability to get information out through speaking or being able to write your thoughts in writing, or your ability to remember things like remembering how to do calculations. Typically, it affects things related to reading, writing, or math. We can help you to clarify if you have a learning disability, or if you're someone who's been like, Jen, even in my first language, reading has always been hard for me. Or I had tutors my entire life, and even though I studied really hard, did all of my homework, and met with my tutors, my grades still weren't great. You may want to connect with our office to see if you have a learning disability. If you have a medical condition, right? So if you have diabetes, if you have chronic pain, these are all things that come into a learning environment and can affect your ability to study or do well in your courses. So if you connect with our office and let us know that you have a disability or think you have a disability, our office may work with you to explore something called accommodations. And in Canada and in English, accommodations have different meanings. So accommodations may include places to live, but accommodations in a school environment can also mean supports and resources. So if a student tells me perhaps that reading is a challenge, they may need extra time for a test or an exam. That may give them time to sound out words. It may give them time to maybe read passages or sentences over and over again so that they can understand it. If a person tells me that they have a back injury, then sitting in a chair for a long time may be uncomfortable. Extra time on a test may allow them to stretch and maybe move. If they have a mental health concern and they just need a few minutes to do some of that breathing that we talked about, extra time on tests are things that are very common for students with disabilities. Note-taking support. So some of your classes may be just like this presentation, where there may be PowerPoint slides or lecture notes, and the instructor may be talking. Note-taking support may involve getting notes from a classmate who's willing to share them, or using your cell phone to record lectures, and then using an app to type out the notes. Your support plan would be specific to you, which means every student gets their own individual plan to meet their needs. And we'll share that plan with your instructors, but never do we inform your instructors what your disability is. So if you've been diagnosed with a condition and you're concerned that if you share that condition, your instructors will know, no. If you have accommodations, it never appears on your transcript, and your visa or study permit is not affected by it. So if you think you have a disability or know that you have one, what you can do is you can go on to fanshawe.ca and complete the early ID. That will ask you questions about your name, what program you're in, and tell us a little bit about yourself. Once we get that, you'll be matched with a counselor and we'll work together to develop a plan to meet your needs. Okay? If you have any questions now or before you come to Fanshawe, you can connect with our office, and you can do that by phone. So the phone number is on there, but also through email. So accessibility@fanshawec.ca is our email address, and you can send us any of the questions that you may want to have answered about accommodations for academic purposes before you come. If you have any documentation that's available, like a letter from your doctor, or if you have documentation that makes a diagnosis, I welcome and encourage you to gather that before you come to Canada, because that's helpful for us to understand your needs. Okay. If there are any questions, I will check the chat, but I know some people prefer to ask questions through speaking. So I do welcome you to unmute if you have a question, if there's anything I can answer for you.
Yes, Jen, there hasn't been any questions in the chat.
Good
Ma'am, can you
morning.
hear me? I'm sorry.
Okay, just so
I'm
we can
sorry.
sort of
Hi,
break it
Roberto.
down.
Do you have a question? No?
Uh, Good morning. Yeah,
Good
I got a
morning.
question. I'm currently here in Ecuador right now. So, you talk about the conditions. I was detected 2 months ago as a hypertension patient.
Yes.
So, I want to know how to do um with my documentation from how to do with my uh pills prescription, and how can I deal with it, how can um have um an orientation what I have to do.
Yeah. Roberto, thank you for sharing that information. I very much appreciate that. And April, who is my partner in this presentation today, she's going to chat a little bit about some of your benefits for things like prescriptions. So you may connect with both of us while you're a student at Fanshawe. And so if you complete the early ID, that will allow you to connect with a member of our team, and we can talk about different things like, okay, so if I become stressed, I may need to take breaks. So I do encourage you to connect with our office because we know that physical conditions do impact our learning. But April may talk a little bit about prescriptions and what to bring from your doctor. When you come to Canada, and the importance of, if you are bringing medication, how to do that.
Thank you. I feel more comfortable about that because it's hard to know. It's hard to know when you got this condition, and it's currently doesn't affect me right now. But when I will arrive, I think it will be a problem to deal with it. So appreciate that embracement that you have about the conditions, and thank you again. Have a good day.
You're welcome. Thank you. Am I pronouncing it correctly if I said Zakia?
Yes.
Hi, Zakia.
Hi, good morning. Okay, I was recently diagnosed for being borderline diabetic, so they have started me on medication, that minor medication. So what exactly am I supposed to get? Like the doctor's prescriptions or anything?
So April, maybe I can allow you to answer. It seems to have some prescription questions on the team today.
Sure. So any prescriptions like that, you would need the Canadian equivalent. So when you arrive, make sure you have enough for a few weeks until you arrive in Canada. Once you arrive here, you can either use a virtual doctor, which I will talk about soon, or you can use the campus doctor to get an equivalent prescription here in Canada.
Okay. Thank you.
Mash?
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me, ma'am? Good morning.
I can.
Okay. So I hope you're having a great time here. Actually, I'm diagnosed with minor epilepsy. So I have a question. Sometimes, due to my epilepsy, I can have some, days where I might get headaches or I can get a little bit affected due to lack of sleep or stress. Because as you know that there are so many practical assignments going to come up. And is there any kind of I would say benefits that I might receive? And I do have prescription as well as the EEG report that actually does clarify. And are there any medicinal benefits like from pharmacy? It's also a question because do the students in Fanshawe College, I have heard that there's pharmacy So do we get any benefits like discounts? That's a curious question. That's why I have decided to ask.
Okay. And so I can speak a little bit. When I hear about that condition, I know it can be unpredictable. So one thing I would do is recommend that you connect with our office for a few reasons. So if you do have an episode and need to take a few days away from your studies, our office can work with your instructors to perhaps create extensions. But we can also connect to create an emergency support plan for you so that campus team members would know about your condition and know how to respond in advance if we are noticing that you are in need of support in the classroom. So I would recommend that you connect with our office for the academic side of things. April, in terms of prescriptions and cost savings?
Yep, so you guys have lots of benefits. So once we're finished with this counseling portion, I'll go over all of your benefits that you guys have access to as part of Morcare.
Okay, and I also have my education, like I'm a social service worker, so as a student, so my campus is on Simcoe. So is there any pharmacy available near to it, inside the college?
Yes,
It's
so
just
Fanshawe does have a medical clinic and we do have a pharmacy on our campus.
on Simcoe, right?
Oh, at the Simcoe campus?
Yeah, because my course is
No.
social. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah,
Thank
but there are pharmacies located in the Simcoe community that you can connect with.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Herman?
Yeah, hello, ma'am. I have a question. It's not really that personal, but I was wondering how can someone like looking for a process to get diagnosed? For example, back when I was a child, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and since then I was having my medications, my sessions for you know, all this stuff to take care, make sure I wouldn't have any issue when I was growing up. But since then, the record it's very old, so I don't think they will take like the equivalent for Canada. So how will be the proper process to make sure I get diagnosed, or from the Canadian standards, define if I have the diagnose correctly or
Yeah. So one thing that we do understand is that something like ADHD is lifelong. So if you have a diagnosis, it may just involve a letter from your doctor, just indicating that, yes, you have that diagnosis. If you participated, so in some countries, the process of a diagnosis may involve an assessment. If you have a copy of that assessment report, you can bring it. So we do understand that lots of people get diagnosed with ADHD and learning disabilities as children, and we will recognize that as an adult here at Fanshawe. So I would just suggest gather any documentation that you do have and bring it with you. And then when you meet with your counselor, we can decide if we need more documentation, or if it's been many years since you've had an assessment and would like to have an updated assessment, you can speak with your counselor about that.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I think that's the end of the questions for you, Jen. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Welcome to Fanshawe, everyone. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. And we're just going to turn it over to April. April's going to talk to us. She's here from our Morcare program. So she will be able to run through all of the Morcare benefits. So April, we're all set. You're a co-host if you'd like to take over.
Perfect. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, can you guys see that, Crystal? Awesome. Okay, so I am the Morcare representative here at Fanshawe College main campus. So Morcare is your health insurance while you are here at Fanshawe. As long as you are a full-time student, you are automatically enrolled in the plan. You don't need to do anything. So I'm going to kind of talk as if you are all January start students, as I assume that's the case. So your policy would begin January 1st. So this is the Morcare site. This is the best place to go for all your information. If you have questions, there's a live chat feature. So I'm gonna kind of go over all of your benefits and how the website works. And then if you guys have questions afterwards, we can get to those, okay? So when you first go to the Morcare site, it will actually look like this. And then you will just choose your school here on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side here, all of these colored tabs are the different coverage areas you have. So international OHIP alternative, that's your main medical coverage. So that's for things like seeing a doctor, getting blood work, getting x-rays, anything like that falls under your international OHIP alternative. So for those of you who don't know, OHIP stands for Ontario Health Insurance Plan, and that is the government funded plan that we have here in Ontario. So since as international students, you aren't eligible for that yet, we have created this alternative, which is very, very similar to that coverage. So you can see your coverage is $1 million for your lifetime for any new medical condition or illness. For pre-existing conditions and chronic conditions, as long as you have been stable for 120 days prior to the start of your policy, that would also be covered. So if you have an emergency, if you have an accident, anything like that, you're going to be covered. Okay. So for other things, there is limits within that. So for maternity coverage, if you are pregnant prior to the start of your policy, so if you're already pregnant, you would not have coverage under the plan for maternity. If you become pregnant while you are active under the plan, the maximum coverage for maternity is $25,000. Same with the psychiatric hospitalization, it's $50,000. Self-inflicted injuries, the maximum is $10,000. Oncology treatments is $25,000. Repatriation. So this is in the event that you are so ill that the only option is to be returned to your home country. You would have $15,000 coverage for that. So it's not just because you want to return home or anything like that. It has to do with your health, so that you would need to be returned home. Okay. So this is just an overview, and then there's also some things that are not covered that are down here. Okay. Next, there was a lot of questions about prescription drugs. So you do have coverage for most prescription medications. So it's 80% coverage up to $5,000 a year. So prescription medications is drugs that legally require a prescription in Canada. So anything you can buy off the shelf without a prescription is not covered. Your vaccine coverage is also 80% up to $150 per year. And contraceptives like birth control, IUDs, the patch, anything like that, your coverage is 80% up to $200 a year. Okay, moving on to dental. So you have a maximum of $750 for dental coverage per year. Different services are covered at different amounts. So general cleanings, things like that, preventative services are 80%, major services are 50%. So I get the question a lot. Dental coverage does not include braces. That's considered orthodontics and is not covered under the plan. Okay. Under extended health, so this is alternative practitioners. So things like chiropractic, occupational therapy, nutritionist, osteopath, podiatrist, naturopath, speech therapist, acupuncture, and audiologist. So you have $500 for each one of these provider types. RMT means registered massage therapist. So that is a big one for a lot of students. You have $500 to visit a registered massage therapist per policy year. You also have physiotherapy and physical rehabilitation therapists, $500. Psychologist, social worker, and psychoanalyst, you have $1,000 per student year. And then emergency taxi. So that is not an ambulance, but if you needed to get to the emergency room, you did not require an ambulance, but you needed a taxi, you would have $50 to get there. Accidental dental is $2,000. And then here's some other kind of coverage areas. So if you have diabetes, you have up to $1,000 per 5 years for diabetic supplies. So that's not the prescription drugs, that's other supplies required for diabetes. So like your testing strips, lancets, things like that. For ambulance, you have $100 per year. So just so you guys are aware, an ambulance typically costs about $240. So if you need an ambulance, 100%, you should call one, but just be aware that you would have to pay some of it out of pocket as your insurance only covers $100. Okay. You also have accident benefits. So this is things like an external force. So if you were in a car accident, you have additional benefits. If you were pushed and fell down and got hurt, you have additional benefits for that. So accidents are specific scenarios. So if you cut your hand by accident, if there was not an external push, then that's not really, you would still have coverage to get treated, but that's not considered an accident in terms of your insurance. Okay. So your accident coverage, loss of life, if there was a situation, you would have coverage, your family would get the support if you lost your life while here in Canada. That's under bereavement. There's just different areas about that, but the accident coverage is very specific to the type of accident. Okay. You also have travel coverage under your plan. So this is for trips up to 180 days out of Ontario. It does not include your home country. So while you're in Canada studying, if you went to even a different province or went into the States or went anywhere besides your home country, you would have coverage for emergency illness and injuries, up to $5 million. Okay, and then the student wellness program. So this is another resource that you guys can use for different services like mental health, career development. It's provided through a company called Dialogue. So you would just sign in with them and then they can offer you support for all of these types of services. Okay, so this is all included as part of your plan. Additionally, you have the enhanced coverage. So this is early arrival. So if your policy starts January 1st, you have coverage for medical services up to 30 days prior. So obviously we assume you're going to get here before the start of your class. If you were to get sick before your class starts, you would still have coverage for that. But the early arrival does not include coverage for any of these green, orange, or pink services. It's only for the medical services. Okay, so that's kind of a brief overview of your plan. I'll go back to the main page here. So you can see that's how we went through it on the right-hand side with all the colored tabs. So we'll go through these tabs here. So for the e-profile, that is how you would submit claims for drugs, dental, vision, and extended health. Oh, sorry, I guess I didn't tell you about your vision coverage. So for vision, so if you wear glasses or if you think you might need glasses, you have $80 for a general eye exam. And then you also have $150 for new glasses. So if you are required to pay upfront for the service, this is how you would submit claims. It is always up to the provider, whether they direct bill your insurance, meaning that they send us the bill and you don't pay, or whether you have to pay and submit the claim yourself to be refunded. So if you do, then this is how you would submit it. Okay. Also, there is an opt-out. So if you do have OHIP, you can opt out of that portion of the plan and be refunded amount. The only way to opt out of the plan is if you have OHIP. Okay. You can also opt in your family. So if you are coming with a spouse or children, you can add them to your plan. So you would not use the opt-out that's showing right now as January start students. You would wait until January 1st and then add them to your plan then. It will look the same, but if you do it now, it will be rejected because your policy has not started. Okay. Also, so another good place to go is the Your Space section up here in the top right. This is where you would find more information about your plans. You can open this booklet here and it's got lots of details. It goes in depth into more details about your plan. You can also find all the forms for submitting claims as well here. So if you were to submit a medical claim, this is the form you would need. You would fill it out and email it here. Okay. If you scroll down, you can see this is where you would get your student medical card. So as January starts, students, you will not be able to get your card now. You will need to wait until probably the first week or two of your classes to access your card. So at that time, you would just put in your student number, your date of birth, hit the green button, and it'll generate a digital card for you. Okay, so if you need some advice of what services to use or where to go, these are providers in our discount network. So you do not have to use a provider on this list. It's just to give you an idea of places to go, and some of them do offer additional discounts to students. So it would say it here, okay? But like I said, you don't have to use someone on that list. You can visit any provider. So same with these ones here. They're just some options for you. We also have coupons with Rexall, Specsavers, which Rexall is a pharmacy. Specsavers and Bailey Nelson are vision centers. So to get your eyes checked or to purchase glasses. There's some frequently asked questions you guys can review, and then feedback or ways to get in touch with us. So this is our email address here or our phone number. You can also use the live chat feature here in the bottom right corner. You would be talking to a live agent. My name's April. If it says your agent's name is April, you're talking to me. So that's a great and quick way to get your questions answered. Okay, so that's a really brief overview. But that's pretty much everything about your plan. So we'll stop sharing and can take some questions.
April, I have been watching the chat and there's no Morcare questions there. So I think if we want to start with the raised hands.
Sure. Jeremy?
Yes. I mean, this question is also specific. Well, back in, I don't know, like 8 years, I got an accident with my teeth. They got broken, but there was no total loss. It was a partial loss, but I needed some reconstruction. Like, my teeth were filled, but since then I haven't um how to explain myself. Um, I have been getting checked. They say it's normal for my teeth to for the material to last a little longer. But I was just wondering if that applies in Canada. Like I may know understand that I have to be checked so they can get to that conclusion that if I need my I don't know how to get it all done over again.
Yeah.
So
So a general dental exam would definitely be covered. After that, it kind of depends on the services you need done. So any dental clinic can do a quote for you, give you the procedure codes, and then you can contact the insurer to know exactly what would be covered under your plan. But the general exam with a dentist would definitely be covered at 80%.
thank you.
Roberto?
Yes. Again, about the question that I have before. So what documents that I need to present on Morcare for my medicine application?
So
What
you don't
documents
need
do
to
you
present.
require? It's
So you don't
specific.
need to show anything to Morcare for prescriptions. You would need a prescription from a Canadian doctor. So that is one thing I didn't go over. I'm going to share my screen again quick.
Okay.
So you can visit any walk-in clinic in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
Most clinics would not direct bill, so you would pay for the service and then submit a claim. There is a clinic here at the London main campus that you can
Mm-hmm.
book an appointment and see a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
They do direct bill your insurance, so you would not pay up front, but they are appointment only. So at the beginning of the year, it can take a week or two to get in to see them. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you can also use a virtual doctor. So if we go back to the main page here, you can see up here in the right-hand corner, there's a red banner that says virtual doctors. You would just click that, register, and then you can meet with a doctor virtually. They can help you with most things. They might recommend you still go see a doctor in person. It depends on the
Mm-hmm.
situation. Okay, so those are kind of your options to get a Canadian prescription. So you would just
Mhm.
need to know what you're on in your home country, and they would be able to help you with a Canadian equivalent. Then you would go to any pharmacy in Canada. You can use the one here on campus, but you are welcome to use any pharmacy. Most of them do direct bill. So you would show your student medical card, and then you would pay the portion that's not covered.
Okay. Meanwhile, I will get my own medicine.
So then you would get the medicine from a pharmacy.
No, no. So I'm just asking. Meanwhile, that I made all the documents that I need to get my prescription there in Canada. I will. Maybe I should take my prescription. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would bring with you as much information as you have,
Mhm.
and then work with the doctor to find out what's going to work for you here.
Okay. Okay, I will have my own stock of medicine too.
Yeah, make sure you have at least a few weeks because, like I said, if you want to use the campus clinic, it can take a couple weeks to get in at the beginning of the year, just because there's a lot of students coming in. So it might take you a few weeks to get a prescription here in Canada. So make sure you have a few weeks supply with you, so that you're not running out.
How many pills that supplies do you recommend? Almost 1 month, 2 months,
So
or
I'm not sure. I think it depends on the medication, in terms
Mhm.
of like customs, what you're allowed to bring in.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the requirements are for
In my
that.
case, it's one pill daily.
So I would suggest at least a few weeks so you have time to get the Canadian prescription.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Gagandeep, I think you were next. Sorry if
Yeah,
I
good
ruined your guys'
morning.
names.
No, that was perfect.
Okay.
Thank you for such an informative session. I just wanted to know, you said most of the plans cover 80%. Is there a deductible before you have to start paying the 20%, or it is just straight up you pay 80% of the bill?
So it depends on the service. So your medical is 100%. There is no deductible for any services. Your prescription drugs and dental, a lot of that's 80%. So it just depends on the service you're getting done, but no, there is no deductible.
Mm-hmm. And just to get a little ballpark, how much would for example, you have a stomachache and you really don't know, and you ended up going to see a doctor, how much would a visit cost?
So a
I
typical
know it's very vague, but how much would a visit to a doctor cost?
So typically
Just
a walk-in clinic visit would be around $100. If you were to go to the emergency room, it's about $1,000.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Tani Tulua.
Yes, so my question is about firstly, good morning.
Good
My
morning.
question is about when does the policy start?
So your policy would begin January 1st.
Okay,
But like I mentioned, you do have early arrival coverage for your medical. So if you were to get here early and you needed to visit a doctor, like you were sick, whatever the case may be, you do have coverage to visit a doctor 30 days prior. That does not include prescriptions or anything like that. That would all start January 1st.
okay, so if I was to be here 3 days earlier, would the travel policy plan still apply?
No, so your travel coverage would also start January 1st.
Okay. My second question is about the discounts you had mentioned. So if students were to go to clinics which offer the discounts, would that be applied to our percentage of the bill, or would that be applied to the insurance coverage also?
No, so the discounts is separate from your insurance. So your insurance is what would be covered through us. Some clinics offer additional discounts. So like your dental clinics, your coverage for a lot of services is 80%. The clinic may offer an additional 20%, so you're not paying anything. But they
Okay.
are separate. So you would need to discuss the discounts directly with the clinic you visit.
Okay. All right. Thank you, April.
Okay, you're welcome. Roy, I believe you were next.
Hello, I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
I just want to know, do pharmacists accept digital prescriptions? I'm asking because in an emergency, it would be quicker to get the medicines uh, if I have a digital prescription.
I'm sorry, a what prescription?
Digital prescription, like
So a digital
through on a
prescription,
mobile.
it would need to be from a Canadian doctor.
Okay,
So pharmacists will not accept a prescription from a doctor outside of Canada.
okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Mash?
Yes, ma'am. I still have one more question.
Sure.
Okay, so regarding, first of all, like I'm just thinking in a practical way. So imagine I have landed to Canada and I really do have to want to buy some medicines for myself. So I went to a pharmacy store and asking for such a medication. Okay, I want to have some I'm sorry, like I want to have some medicine. So I do have the prescription from an Indian doctor that actually does suggest that she does require 1 year of medication, and he also has attached a report to it. Can I use that prescription, or should I still have to meet a Canadian doctor?
You would still have to meet a Canadian doctor.
Okay,
So-
and about the discount. So I'm actually buying a medicine, and should I have to pay the entire fee amount at that moment, or will there be discount added to it on the spot?
So pharmacies can direct bill your insurance. So your insurance would cover 80% of prescription medications. You would still pay 20%.
Okay, so I just have to pay the 20%,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you would pay the 20% for eligible prescription medications. For anything you can buy over the shelf, like cold medications, Tylenol, Advil, things like that are not covered under the plan.
Okay. So as I'm an epileptic person, I have diagnosed with epilepsy. So I believe, if I'm correct, I am actually selected for that criteria. Where they
Yeah,
could.
most medications like that would be covered. I can't confirm without the specific one, but most medications would be covered.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Ibi Igwe?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I joined quite late, so I wanted to confirm for the Morcare, do we have to, like, we're individually going to open an account? Like, I joined late.
Yep, so you
So-
don't need to do anything. You are automatically enrolled in the plan as a full-time student. After a few weeks, you can get your card. I have brochures here at my desk with explanations. So when you guys get here, if you want to come see me as well, on how to get your card, I'll also be at all of the orientation events too. So I can walk you guys through that at that time, but you do not need to do anything. You are automatically enrolled in the plan.
Okay, so for the travel policy, is just restricted to any other place except home?
Yes, yeah. So it's not valid in your home country, but if you were traveling to another country, you would be eligible for coverage, like if you were to get sick.
So how are we going to be, like, is it during the processing of the visa or something? Like, how are we going to get the coverage?
Not sure what you mean.
Like for the travel policy, when you're about to travel, like how do you get the coverage? Do you
Okay, so
still
it's
go?
automatically part of your plan. So if you go on the website, there's a tab that says travel, and it explains what you need to do to get the coverage. So basically, if you're traveling out of Canada while you're active on the plan, there's a number to call if you were to get in an emergency situation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Ruth?
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, I just want to ask, I just want to confirm if I bring my dependents with me, will they be also covered in the Morcare insurance?
So you can pay to add them to your plan. So
I'm
starting
sorry?
January, you can pay to add family to your plan.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the coverage, is just for students, but you can add family, including children and a spouse, starting January 1st.
Okay. So can you enlighten me how is the process? For example, I brought them with me here. Should how can I process their health card, or who will do that for me, or where should I go to process their health card?
So I will share my screen again quick. So starting January 1st, you can go to the Morcare site. So it's just at the very bottom here and it says family opt-in. So don't do this one. This is for November start students, but after January 1st, you would click this tile. That would be, I think the January rate is slightly less than that. But you would just fill out this form and then make the payment online.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. I forgot to mention too, I am, like I said, I'm on campus, but I'm in J1004. So I'm just outside the medical center here on campus. So my hours are Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. So if you guys have questions and you're on main campus, come by and see me.
Perfect. Thank you, April, so much. Thank you for walking through the website and providing all this information.
Yeah, happy to.
And thank you, everyone. There's a lot of great questions. It's always really, I think, beneficial when the students are engaged and ask lots of questions. And this is going to be your next couple of years. So it's good to get a head start on sort of planning what that looks like. So thank you again, April, and thank you, everybody. Please join us back again tomorrow. We are going to be going over applying for jobs and looking for jobs and networking, as well as making sure that we are respecting the rules of our study permit. So I'm looking forward to see everyone back tomorrow morning at the same time. And thank you again, April.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Everything to us.